Shut up and sit down.
Okay, I don't know what to tell you folks, man. He was here, and he was supposed to be here. I sent him a note. We've been planning this, Christmas and everything. All right, well, just hold on. Let me give him a call, and let me see what's going on. Let me just dial the number right here.
Hello?
Kane, where are you?
Snooker! I'm about to get into a helicopter. Did you get my note?
Whoa. Stop. You're getting into a helicopter? Dude,
Yes.
we're supposed to be doing the show right now. We are supposed to be doing the show right now.
I left you a note, man. It's a big deal. Did you not get my note?
What note? What note?
There's a note in your drawer right next to you.
Hold on. How did you even get into my house?
I have wings.
Hold on, let me see what's going on. You're fighting Santa?
Yes! It is the 5 quad annual Super Elf Saiyan Battle Royale. It happens only every 5 years, and I got called to the top, and I'm going to go versus Santa. That is why I'm on this helicopter coming.
You're going to fight Santa on New Year's Day?
Hey, baby Jesus asked me to help. I'm on my way to fight them, bro. You're going to have to take care of this show for me for this round. I'll see you at the Rumble, baby.
Okay. See you later, Kane. Bye.
All right, hold on. Santa, I'm coming for you, motherfucker.
Okay, then. Well, it's a good thing that I'm the heel that runs this deal. And hey, for the first time ever in the history of the podcast, I get to be the one to say, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Off the Ropes. As you've heard, my tag team partner is not here this week. I'm your boy, Kami the Faded Saint, and because I am always prepared, I have called in the reserves. I've called in the person who I actually see most of these pay-per-views with. My best friend, Vest and Titan Feathers, here to step in and help us out. Thank you very much for being here today, Vest. And I know we kind of pulled this on you last minute, but we appreciate you stepping in for Kane. He had
no problem.
He had to go wrestle Santa on
Really?
New Year's Eve.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so that's gonna be.
Wait. Why is that?
I don't know. He lives in parts unknown, and it's just weird things happen there, man. Weird things happen. But at any rate,
that sounds really bizarre.
Yeah, it usually is. It's always an adventure. But this time around, we have the end of the year, and of course, we have the last 2 pay-per-views of the year. This is once again a heads up. We have TLC on the SmackDown side, and Roadblock End of the Line on the Raw side. We're going to get to End of the Line a little bit later. Some end of the year impressions, a little bit of news that we passed along. But let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. And we had TLC, and yes, I know, before anyone gets on my case, yes, I know there was a pre-cook show, but you know what? There's a standing rule here at Off the Ropes. If you cannot be bothered to announce the match before the pay-per-view starts or before the pre-show starts, we can't be bothered to do it. It was Apollo Crews and a bunch of people. Somebody won. Something happened. I don't know. Hooray. I think American Alpha was in there somewhere.
Yeah, it was a tag match where American Alpha actually picked up the win there for once.
Yeah, for once. But that brought us straight into the pay-per-view proper, and it was the Wyatt family, which in this particular instance was Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton with Luke Harper on the outside versus the Beauty and the Man-Beast, Heath Slater, and Rhino, who had gotten rid of his traditional facial hair in favor of the ugliest chops I have ever seen on a man. And it was for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. And
those chops are horrible. Like, horrible. And every time they come out now, Mims is like, no.
She's not a fan of the Lemmy or of the England chops.
Oh, no, not at all.
For those of you paying attention at home, Mims is Mrs. Titan Feather. She also watches the pay-per-view with us. Those chops were so bad because basically, it's going to happen straight up. We're on the first match. Oh, yeah.
Whoa. This is early. Very, very early.
There was not good things happening in this pay-per-view, so I imagine I'm going to be rather drunk towards the end. I'm
right there with you.
The match was all right. The match was good. The match is good. I really kind of did not expect them to go with the ending that they did. I mean, it was all very crisp. It was all very, very well wrestled, and you kind of kept expecting the Randy turn at some point because the WWE can't be bothered to have a consistent storyline for more than 3 weeks.
And you're still waiting for the Randy turn. I mean, we're still today waiting for the Randy turn.
I mean, we're seeing a little heat between Randy and Harper. Randy, okay, and it is another thing. I want this to go through WrestleMania. Randy, you need to step up. When Daniel Bryan was in the Wyatt family, he got the jumpsuit, and, he sold the look. That thing that you're doing with just the hoodie, no. You need to change your ring gear, bruh. You need to change your ring gear. You need to commit to it.
I personally think that if he's going to really stick with this new Wyatt family, he has to stop this 5 o'clock shadow bullshit.
Oh God.
And I'm not expecting him to go full on redneck beard, but let's just grow something out a little bit to fit in with the other two.
I don't think he can.
What do you mean he can?
I don't think he can. Why
not?
This is honestly the most I've ever seen him with facial hair. He's always had that 5 o'clock shadow stubble. It's so cute because it's his first beard and everything. The man's 30 years old and he can't grow a proper beard. The action was great. I think didn't Randy eat a gore for Bray so that they could pick up the win?
Yes, they did. Yes, he did.
So, I mean, Bray Wyatt has his first title. The Wyatt family wins.
Really, to the shock of everybody that Bray Wyatt, after all this time and all the things he's had to go on through, finally has a title.
I mean, that is freaking phenomenal. And not only that, technically, that still because they're still the Wyatt family operate like the New Day under the Freebird rule, so they're all a unit. They're all technically the tag champions. So Luke Harper actually still has one up on Bray Wyatt because remember Luke Harper was the Intercontinental Champion for a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
So there's that. Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton over Beauty and the Man Beast for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, and this kind of this was going to starting a trend. And I'm glad I've already started drinking because goddamn I needed to drink for the next match because Jesus Christ, and it was the match that nobody demanded again, and yet we got again for whatever reason. It was Nikki Bella versus Carmella in a something match?
No disqualification match.
No disqualification match. And if you thought the last match they had was awkward, you have not seen awkward. First of all, little constructive criticism here, Nikki. If you're listening, I know you're not, but if you're listening,
I think I know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
The kendo stick has a handle. It's the end that's taped up. That's the end you're supposed to grab and you're supposed to swing at someone. Or you're supposed to grab and you're supposed to swing the other end at someone. Because the other end is not, taped together and solid and isn't getting hit with a freaking brick. You grabbed the wrong end. And I can only imagine, if I were Carmella, I would have whooped your ass if you got to the back. Because that looked like a goddamn hurt. Jesus Christ.
And, how can you not know how, a simple handle on a sword or a kendo stick, something like that works? I mean, I know you're famous and you might not, know things outside of your sphere of influence, but
your boyfriend's John Cena. How do you not know this?
Right. How do you not know this?
And this match was so god-awful to sit through. It was. I mean, I thought the first one was bad. You throw that no disqualification, and what did she do? She suffocated Carmella at the end with a fire extinguisher and then gave her the TKO.
That's right.
And
that's right.
It's not the Rack Attack 2.0. That's bullshit. That's the TKO. You owe Mark Marrow some money. You owe Mark Marrow some money. You give Johnny B. Bad his money. You give him his money, Nikki Bella. I'm serious.
Oh, she's good for it.
She's good for it. I mean, Jesus, have you seen how many how much money they've spent on awful suits for John?
Oh, yeah, I know. It's horrible. It's very horrible.
So, if the match wasn't bad enough, and believe me, it was bad. It was bad. I'm halfway through this beer just talking about this match. Oh, did you open one?
Yeah, I got one.
That tells you how bad. But for the first time ever in Off the Ropes history, both hosts are drinking. Wow. So pretty much it was after the match, Carmella got on the mic and she's like, "Oh yeah, you think you're so bad, but I wasn't the one that got you at Survivor Series. It was Natty. Oh no."
Like almost like a old Scooby-Doo villain of the week.
Yeah, and yeah. Did we not see this coming?
Like, right. Who else was it going to be?
I mean, like, if I would have been like, I would have almost rather they just brought somebody out of nowhere. Like, it was, I mean, obviously it can't be Alexa because she was in another, but like, it was Peyton Royce from NXT. I don't even know how she got there, but she was there.
Exactly.
It was Ember Moon. She's technically female Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. She did it. I would have loved them to use this as a way to get somebody else up because their women's division needs some help. Oh my fucking god.
Yeah, it's thin. It's very thin.
Again, it goes back to something that we've been saying since the brand split. The women's division was not strong enough to be split in half. It needed to be on one side or the other.
Right.
Or its own thing, like 205 Live.
Right, and I don't know why they decided to split them. You know, they didn't want to share them or something.
I don't know what it was, but it clearly didn't work. But at any rate, Nikki over Carmella, shenanigans after the fact, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Which then brought us to the match of the night, no lie. And it's kind of a shame that we're not gonna that this was the end of this because these two have been tearing the house down, and that is of course in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship, Dolph Ziggler versus the best heel in the entire goddamn wrestling business today. I am saying it. He's won me over. The Miz with cheap knockoff Canadian Lana. God damn. I have to come out here every podcast and I have to apologize to The Miz because back at WrestleMania, I said I didn't believe in him. I was tired of it. He wasn't going anywhere. We need to do something else. The Miz needs to go away and just be a manager somewhere. And since then, I want to take complete credit for this because I know The Miz listens to the podcast.
But of course he does.
Of course he does. Why? What? But he has won me over. He is bar none. He has maximized his minutes, and he is just. He is the best heel in the business right now. I'll say it right now. Not just WWE, in the entire business. And this match was phenomenal. Dolph was going to give you a great match, and Miz has upped his game. And they did everything they could with ladders. It was.
I think Miz has upped his game since WrestleMania, and I just think they needed him to do that because I just remember asking you back then, where's my heels at? Where are they? What viable heel did we have in the company?
No one. I mean, it was really just kind of like Trips and Steph by default, and Uncle Paul would come every now and again with Brock Lesnar, who's not really a heel. He's just kind of a planet. He's kind of a sentient tropical storm in shorts. So, but goddamn, this was.
Did he get downgraded since he lost to Goldberg? I mean, I thought he was a full-blown hurricane.
He needed to lose to Goldberg because I've said it on the podcast. I know I said to you quite a few times how sick I was of the Brock Lesnar shtick. Like when he did it back on John Cena 2 SummerSlams ago, that was special. When he did it,
but then
this last
it was just
SummerSlam
like
for Randy, it was just like, why? Why even? Why bother with this? Nobody wanted this match, and it was stupid. And apparently he was in agreement. Apparently he lobbied very heavily for that ending to SummerSlam, as I've come to find out. That he was like, he sees the money. He sees the money that he could have made back then. The money he can still make now with Goldberg. And apparently he's going to get his win back at WrestleMania, which is fine, but it's all good.
Right.
But back to this match. The only problem I have with the match is just how it ended. And the only reason why I have a problem with it is because it just, once again, proves that Dolph is the best at what he does, and what he does is take wicked bumps and lose matches. Yeah. Because who climbs 2 ladders? Who perfectly straddles themselves so that they can get a nut shot 15 feet in the air?
Yeah, I don't know.
You climb one ladder and you're
golden. Right. I mean, why do that? Why bring that other ladder into the equation?
And just because of that one thing right there. Well, I guess because now we know. I think they're trying to tease him. They're trying to slowly say, he really could be in the main event picture, and the crowd's like, "Oh, you so crazy, WWE." That's cute. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, just for stupidity points, you deserve to lose that match, Dolph. Miz won. I was not expecting him to win. I was expecting Dolph to win that one, but the Miz won, ending the rivalry. The Miz retains his Intercontinental Championship and on his Intercontinental Reunion Tour, and goddamn. And then we had to...
Well, hold on a minute. I would just like to applaud The Miz and Dolph Ziggler, who, again, Mims just loves him to death, but I would like to applaud the both of them for putting on probably the best rivalry of the year in WWE.
Oh, totally.
And they just put on some spectacular matches this year and did it for us multiple times.
They should have been the main event of No Mercy.
Right.
That should have been the main event, because that was the match that everyone was the most invested in.
Right.
And after you burn your quote-unquote main event, which is, by the way, there's going to be something about the champ coming last. That's going to be my new blog series. It's going to be coming out in the new year. And that's the first thing I'm going to address, why the champ comes last. But, I mean, really and honestly, when you took the quote-unquote main event players and you put them in the first, and I understand why they did it, and you looked at the rest of the card, the only other match that anyone was invested in was this match. And it was partially because Dolph is really sympathetic face, and because The Miz is so good at being a heel. I mean, let's just step back for a second, and let's just, let's talk about just for a second, just some of the things that The Miz has done after this match. He gave Dean Ambrose a participation trophy.
Yeah, he did. Like, just being his smarmy ass self.
And it was hilarious. And, like, what he's doing right now with Dean Ambrose, I mean, it doesn't even feel like Dean Ambrose is taking a step down to go to the Intercontinental. I'll be honest, I'm a little disappointed in AJ. I kind of feel like Miz is showing you up, AJ.
He kind of is a little bit.
He is a little bit. I mean, maybe it's just that really southern accent of AJ's, though. I mean, like, I keep expecting him to go yeehaw and start shooting into the crowd. I expect him to be the third smoking gun.
No, I don't think that would work.
Let's see how many people get that reference. At any rate, So we get the highest of highs. And then we get the lowest of lows. Yes, friends, it is time, once again, for the next installment of Boring Stereo. That's right, in a chairs match, we had Boring Corbin, Mr. Randy Orton Jr. himself, versus, oh my god, they wish he was Rey Mysterio, Mr. Raymond Mysterio Jr. Kalisto. And Baron Corbin won. Baron Corbin won. Of course he was going to win. They're not going to job Baron freaking Corbin to Kalisto. I don't even know why this was a thing. This was never going to be a thing.
And it should have died weeks before this. And we thought it was going to be dead weeks before this. And for some reason, they brought this all back together again to get them to wrestle one more time.
Yeah, because Kalisto got hurt, and then Baron Corbin just went, fuck all. And just kind of was just walking around backstage, pushing people around, and that's all you saw of him. And that was it. That was it. I am not a Baron Corbin fan. Okay, look, here's the story of the match. The story of the match is Kalisto has a new fiery streak and was using the chairs, and then eventually got hit with the end of days on like 20,000 chairs. And that was the end of it. Of course he was. I do not get how they have missed the boat on Baron Corbin, and they keep in the weeks after, since this pay-per-view, they've tried to sell us on Baron Corbin, the possible main event, and it's kind of like Dolph Ziggler, the possible main event. WWE, you so crazy. How do you mess this up? This dude is legitimately he played at Georgia. Wasn't he a Falcon for a cup of coffee?
He
was a Cardinal.
He was on their practice. He was on their practice squad.
And this is a dude, 6'6", ripped, tattoos, everything that Vince McMahon likes, and it all comes down to he just can't win the matches. He couldn't beat Dolph Ziggler with a half-broken neck in a no disqualification match.
But do you like how really WWE has picked up on this the most metal athlete of the year thing that he was given to by, I believe it was Loudwire magazine? You didn't hear about that?
No, what the most metal?
Yeah.
Is this like metal like Jethro Tull was the first ever Grammy Award-winning metal artist? And I'm using very liberal air quotes there. Because that's what I'm thinking here. I mean, he's not metal. His entrance is metal. I mean...
No, this is a thing. I saw it, that, like, with this metal magazine, I want to say it was Loudwire, like, named him the most metal male athlete out there.
I gotta finish my beer. I can't open another beer until I get through this one. And already... The point is that they've missed the boat on him. This is how you book Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin, exactly as he was booked in NXT. Baron Corbin, it's the Goldberg principle. Baron Corbin comes out, music, walks in the ring, sits there, punch, kick, throws him to the ropes, deep six, throws him to the ropes, end of days, 1, 2, 3, leaves. That's the Baron Corbin match. That's what you need to do.
And we're done in 45 seconds.
We're done in 45 seconds. The man does not work. The man does not work by an hourly wage. So he gets his fee whether he's there for 45 seconds or 45 minutes. So he needs to get his money, get out, and get on the stepping. And I don't understand how they've just fucking missed the boat with this. And it makes me sad. And I can't really talk about this anymore because I've already got so many things I've got to rant about, and I'm gonna kill the time.
Okay.
So, Boring Corbin won, and that brought us probably to your favorite match of the night. Because for those of you that don't know, you know how we always joke on Off the Ropes that Natty Neidhart is Mrs. Faded Saint. Well, Miss Alexa Bliss is actually Mrs. Titan Feather. Don't tell Mims. Mims, you didn't hear that.
My boo, oh, so my boo.
And yes, that is the Harley Quinn of SmackDown that they're not allowed to say anymore because they almost got sued.
Oh, that's good. We wanted them to stop that.
Yeah, we wanted them to start that. Marlo, or whatever your name is. It was a tables match for the SmackDown Women's Champion. It was the Irish Lass Kicker Becky Lynch versus 5 Feet of Fury Alexa Bliss. This was pretty brutal. I mean, it was a step up from Nikki Bella or Carmella, but I don't know. There was something about this match that kind of felt off. I don't know if their timing was off or whatever. It wasn't as good as it could have been, I felt.
No, I agree that this wasn't the best match, and
their match in Glasgow was much better.
Absolutely, and I just don't know what was off between them.
I feel like it was the gimmick. I don't feel like they were entirely comfortable with the tables match.
Yeah.
Now, we do need to note here something that you've pointed out, and something that's kind of been persistent. And I don't know where they're going with this, but Becky's kind of been acting very heelish in the way that she's been doing things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she hasn't really been like the good old face. Like, she straight up jumped Alexa at the contract signing. Technically, she did win the match in Glasgow and was like, no, I won, just deal with it, rather than say, I'll give you a rematch anytime. You know, it kind of had to be, Alexa kind of had to...
lobby for
it a little bit. And but in the end, depending on how you look at it, the better woman won when Alexa somehow managed to trip up Becky in the ring apron and then freaking power bombed her through a table. And ladies and gentlemen, your second ever and new SmackDown Women's Champion, Alexa Bliss.
It was blissful. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, she earned it, and this, unlike some people who remain nameless in Charlotte and Sasha, made entire sense, and they're sticking with it. And I'm happy that it happened, but now I'm starting to get worried. Because, for those of you that are keeping count, so far, all of the titles are on heels now. And although my boy is Dean, I'm always of the mind of, are they really going to put it on Dean? Which was, of course, the next match. And Dean Ambrose, AJ Styles in a tables, ladders, and chairs match. The internet's favorite Lego man, AJ Styles. And this match was pretty damn good. AJ Styles has had the best year.
Hands down.
Like, he debuted at the Royal Rumble, and he became the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, the only real championship. The true top title in the company. Don't let them fool you.
Yeah, that Universal thing, it's. I know it's on the supposed A show, but it's not the title with the prestige people. It's not the title with the lineage. John Cena does not want that stupid belt.
No. And you notice, with all of the other belts, they've color-coded it.
Right.
With the exception of the Intercontinental in the U.S., because those look different on their own. But they have not turned that World Heavyweight title blue. And they never should.
No, I agree. They shouldn't.
That is the company's title. That is the top title, and it is on the person that it needs to be on. And this was a great match. AJ went very awkwardly through a chair and spent half the match with his tights ripped and bleeding.
Yeah.
No lie, the guy had a puncture wound in his butt. There's no other way to put it. And he performed admirably.
Yeah, he did not stop one bit. He didn't ask for time. You know, he is the professional. I think he's the most professional out of everybody, all the wrestlers right now.
Yeah, I have to... Okay, so I think I just accidentally told my Amazon Echo just to start talking because it's chattering in the background and because we were just talking about Alexa Bliss. I'll deal with that during the break. But that ending, we called it a mile away. We knew it was going to happen. And I hope that this James Ellsworth thing in the main event is done with now and over. And
it sure seems that way.
Exactly. And hold on a second. Alexa, stop! I'm not going to fix that in post.
It's a very bad Alexa.
I'm going to have to remember to mute that next time I do the podcast. But
that's funny.
Ellsworth was beaten to hell on the Go Home SmackDown show. Ellsworth shows up, and then for reasons which I said right then, it's like he thinks that he can beat AJ Styles because he's beaten him 3 times, and that's why he cost Dean Ambrose. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
That was the logical call. The internet's favorite Lego man comes out on top. And that's how we ended the show. And that was TLC. So this is the point where we give it a letter grade. What did you think of the show overall? I was not a fan. I think they could have done better. Because this was 2 weeks after Survivor Series?
Right.
It was... They could have done better. They shouldn't have freaking booked a pay-per-view 2 weeks after one of the big 4. Best I can give it is a B-.
I think I enjoyed it a little more than you. I liked Alexa winning. I think it was time to kind of elevate some new talent. The Ziggles Miz match was excellent, and I really enjoyed the AJ Dean match. But yeah, it wasn't great, and this is the weird thing. I'm going to give it the same grade, even though I think I enjoyed it a little more than you did.
See, I'm knocking it down a grade because I feel like it could have been better. You obviously maybe didn't expect as much as I did, and it surprised you, and so you're bringing it up from a lower grade. So we're meeting at the middle. So B- all around. And with that will bring us to the break. So coming up on the other side of the break, we are going to be talking about, obviously, Roadblock End of the Road, and we're going to also be, just doing a little wrap-up on Raw, on SmackDown, and we're going to be talking, again, about a little piece of news that somebody passed along to us, and so we will see you after the break. On behalf of Kane Snuka and myself, the Faded Saint, we would like to thank bensound.com for our opening theme, Actionable, and Meechet for our closing theme, Picnic and the Reactor. And this week, we have decided to find a mashup of our 2 favorite performers. Yes, they are best friends to the end. They are L'Oreal's favorite team-up. This is by Joe Mashup. This is Jera KO. Enjoy. Welcome back. I'm your boy, Kami the Fated Saint. That is my best friend, Vestin Titan Feather. He is standing in for Kane Super What Snuka, who has apparently gone somewhere in the parts unknown to go wrestle Santa on New Year's Eve. And we've got some bills to pay. So yeah, they've got me reading this stuff now like I'm a freaking radio host. So
Oh, come on, really?
I know you're a sports fan like me. Like, you ever watch Mike and Mike in the morning?
Yeah.
And they have to like read off that stuff, and like they totally sound sincere. They've got me doing that. So
Good. All right.
let me go ahead and get this done here. My name is Kamizite Mawaro, and I am a certified G and a bona fide stud. And you can teach that at Kami's Vocational School for G's and Stud. We give you on-site training for G's, and we also give you certification. We also train for all letters of the alphabet. Speak Spanish, se habla inglés. Speak French, se habla inglés. Call now. Operators are standing by. Today's show is also brought to you by the letters L, the letter J, and the number 2. Figure it out for yourself. And we also want to give a quick shout out to our good friend of the show, William. He has he's had a tough time, and we just want to let him know that we're thinking of you, bro. Hope you feel better. And now we're back, and now we have another pay-per-view in front of us. Roadblock End of the Line. Or what it should have been called, Roadblock, but that ending, though. Yeah. We actually did not see this one together. You were busy that night, and I honestly had forgotten up until maybe 30 minutes before that it was happening. Yeah. Super fun. But at any rate, so let's go on. They actually did announce the pre-cook, and so we will actually talk about the pre-cook straight up, because I mean, again, if you'll announce it, we will talk about it. And so the pre-cook was the Russian, or what is he called? The Bulgarian bruiser Rusev with Lana. Hi, Lana.
Oh, hi, Lana.
Hi, Lana. Versus the realest jobbers in the room, Big Cass with Enzo Amore. Now, this all came about because Cass locked Enzo out of the locker room while he was naked, and Lana caught a peek. Rusev took exception, and things.
It's stupid. Just trust us.
If you guys remember, the whole Dolph Ziggler, Rusev, Summer Rae, Lana thing, it's kind of the same thing, but a little weirder. Just kind of imagine that Enzo is in the Summer Rae role, sort of. It's god awful, and you wanna just take a guess how this one ended. I'll give you 3 guesses, and the first 2 don't count, because there's a reason we call them the realest jobbers in the room.
Oh, they jobbed. Oh, he jobbed.
He jobbed. Rusev won.
Rusev
won. Rusev won by count out. Not even a decisive win. And then they rematched the next night on Raw, and freaking Big Cass got himself freaking disqualified. Wow.
Good going, Big Cass.
I mean, are they going to be? Are they building to a match at the Royal Rumble? Because
I sure hope not.
They had that whole sensitivity training thing.
Yeah.
And that was awful. And Jinder Mahal now is hanging out with Rusev. Which, it's good to see Jinder Mahal getting something.
So, are they just kind of like setting up for a legit tag match?
I mean, the money here is Cass and Rusev. And look, I'll admit, Enzo's a great talker. He is one of the best promos I saw this year was when the club cut their mics, and Enzo basically had the crowd be his mic for him.
Yeah.
Guy can talk. He is the albatross around Big Cass's neck, because Big Cass is the money guy here. Enzo is literally in the match just to get his ass kicked.
Pretty much, and to be used as a weapon.
Because all of his offense is Cass using him as a weapon.
Right. I mean, And I keep reading. I just keep reading this stuff. Oh, Cass versus Enzo is going to be money.
No, it isn't. No,
No,
it isn't.
no,
It's
it's
going to
not.
be Cass beating Enzo up for 5 minutes. That's all it's going to be. If they even pay it off like that, which I don't think they will. It just Rusev over Big Cass didn't even make the show. Nobody cares. But that brought us to the show proper. And they kicked it off proper with a tag team titles match. It was the New Day, who have beaten Demolition out for their goddamn record,
Finally.
versus the tag team that has been forced upon us, Cesaro and Sheamus. And I spent half of this match basically yelling at my television. Because here's the thing, and if you're listening to it, you've heard us talk about this before. Why put Sheamus and Cesaro together if you're not going to give them the titles? Then that just all that is that it's a stopgag that has wasted all of our time. On top of all of that, that has put other more deserving tag teams, the Club, on the back burner. And then on top of all of that, everyone's on the back burner because the WWE has this weird fixation on beating records for people who have pissed them off. Demolition is suing them. The New Day has to beat their record. I am damn surprised. And actually, I'm not going to be surprised because I think this is where they're building to with AJ Styles. I think they're going to try and have AJ beat CM Punk's record because CM Punk is the longest rating modern champion. And they're going to have to... They're going to have to make sure that AJ keeps the belt for a good 18 to 20 months to accomplish that.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, but I mean,
You really think they're going to keep the belt on him that long?
they have proven that they will go to extraordinary lengths just for this little thing. And it's all on them. When AJ Lee just up and retired, they made Nikki Bella the thing so that they would beat her. And it's recorded on this podcast how absolutely stupid it was because of the fucking build up to it, because they were doing everything in their power to not have her defend the title on pay-per-views. They had her in tag matches. They had her in people's corners. They had her. It was stupid. They did the same thing with the New Day, where they just started flat out healing them out. They were straight up cheating.
They were. I mean, like, over and over again.
To get to this match, they buried 4 tag teams in one night. Not only did they bury Sheamus and Cesaro and the Club, who I don't understand how the Club is like the tag team equivalent of Baron Corbin. I don't understand how you book them incorrectly. I don't. I honestly do not get how they have screwed up the Club. But then they jobbed the top 4 guys on Raw to the New Day in the same night.
Yeah.
You can ask him.
It was.
You can ask Kane when he comes back. I was fucking livid when that happened.
And that was you were right. That was the New Day show that night, and it was stupid beyond all belief.
I mean, I get it. You make a big deal out of them beating this record. Hooray. But then comes the inevitability. Now, I say that, but let me make sure everyone understands this. This was a phenomenal match. Absolutely. 100%. Probably the match of the night. Yeah, I'm going to go there. Match of the night. And they really... towards the end there, they had me thinking that they were going to keep that title on the New Day. But the WWE has a tried and true formula. You beat the record, you drop the title.
Mercifully, it's over.
Mercifully, it's over. And your winners and new Raw Tag Team Champions, Cesaro and Sheamus. And it was a great match. And the next night on Raw, they changed the freaking black strap to a red strap so that it would be the Raw Tag Team Championships, which is fucking stupid, but whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Great match. Again, match of the night. What did you think?
I wouldn't quite give it the match of the night.
Really?
Yeah, I thought another match deserved that.
Okay, well, fair enough. But, I mean, it was definitely the best, probably the best way to start it off.
Oh, no, absolutely, absolutely.
But then we got a little weird here. Because the next match on the card, I didn't quite understand the whole thing, and it kind of ended weirdly. And, of course, we're speaking of Sami Zayn versus Braun! Okay, so here's the thing. Apparently, it was like there was a time limit. I mean, it was like you can't last 10 minutes with Braun Strowman. Okay.
Like you thought that was a throwaway line almost.
I know. I was like, oh, okay. But no, it was actually a 10-minute time limit match. All right, fair enough. How do you make Sami Zayn boring? This match was boring. 3 minutes of this match was Braun yelling at Mick Foley, and Mick Foley with a towel in his hand asking Sammy if he wants to throw it, and Sammy, who basically, I don't know, I think he has the same disease that Dolph does, where just like the bottom half of his body just becomes paralyzed in ladder or face in peril situations. There was a good solid 3 minutes of burning that. It was just when it picked up, it was over. Like when Sammy was like mounting the comeback at the end and was like, oh yeah, and then the bell rang and it's like, okay, Sami Zayn lasted 10 minutes, he wins, and it's like.
But like what I don't get is that, fine, I understand Strowman wants to hurt people, but he could have won that match multiple times, right?
Right. I mean, there was the whole, like, that whole weird 3 minutes of jawing with, you know what, yeah.
Up, number 2.
Yep, that's number 2. This match made me sad. I don't know how, and they've been doing so good with Braun. And I don't understand how you can possibly make Sami Zayn boring, but they managed to accomplish it, and that's not great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I get why they did it, because Sami is easily the most sympathetic heel on the entire roster, and they wanted to put Braun over a bit, but, I mean, this match didn't really make sense. The ending didn't really make sense. Like, if you hit the time limit, it's a draw. It's a draw, guys. It's a draw.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't. You didn't let us know that you were going to just end the match at 10 minutes. You know, he looked like he was teeing up for a haluva kick. I would have loved to have seen what happened next, but then it was like, nope, match over. Sammy, you win. Ha 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 ha. Oh.
I mean, you couldn't. If you can't let Sammy win by pinfall because you don't want Braun to look weak.
No,
but
you can't let him win by submission either. But there were so many ways. I mean, like you could have like done the countout thing when he slammed his head on the outside ring post.
Right.
Like there was any number of ways you could have ended that match, or you could have just called the match a draw. Like Sammy survived, you have a draw. Hooray. But they didn't, and I guess they were just trying to build up to what happened on Raw the next two, because Raw's been the Braun show, and we'll get to that after the pay-per-view. But, yeah, so Sammy somehow over Braun. Don't ask me how. I don't get it.
Yeah,
But,
me either. Me
so
either.
that brought us into Seth Rollins versus Chris Jericho. Now, kind of the thing that's been going on here is that Jericho and KO have been kind of on the outs, and Seth wants his revenge against Jericho because Jericho ruined his chances at Hell in a Cell against good old KO. He got himself into the cell and got him locked in, and this is the revenge match, and it was actually a pretty good match. I thought. Seth is obviously the very best worker out of the new peeps, the NXT crowd that's come up. Chris Jericho slowed down a little bit in his old age, but I mean, like the list of Jericho, the scarf, like I like what they said on What Culture Wrestling, that next year he's going to be getting over like a lawnmower, like a beanie hat, and like a couple of and a couple of used beer cans from his basement, because Chris Jericho just basically gets over whatever he has lying around his house. He is L'Oreal's favorite wrestler, by the way. Drink it in. And it was, again, it was great, but that ending, though. I mean, with the New Day, the first match of the card was the only time we say, but that ending, though, and it was like, oh, good.
Right.
This was, but that ending, though. I mean, it was a well-worked match, but then, predictably, Kevin Owens comes out. He tries to interfere for Seth Rollins, or interfere for Chris, and costs him the match, ultimately.
Yep.
Predictable. I would have liked to have seen any other ending besides this one. Literally any other ending besides this one. It's a shame, because it was such a well done match that it had to end that way. And
I understand where you're coming from totally, but this was my match of the night because I thought it was worked beautifully by both wrestlers, and I have made no bones about this. I am a Chris Jericho fan, and I always have been. And in fact, I have something to say about that.
Oh, are we paying the toll right now?
We're paying the toll.
Okay. I will concede the floor to you so that you can pay the toll. By the way, we had to contract him out to get here, and in order to do that, he has to pay the wife toll, and this is the wife toll. Go ahead.
The wife said, "Fine, I can come on to the show here. That's fine. You can do this. But I had to do one thing. Sing the praises of the List of Jericho." Oh, the List of Jericho is the best thing ever, probably. Oh, there it is! Ah! Oh.
Did you just make the list?
Oh yeah, I made the list.
Okay, well there you heard it. Not the List of Jericho, the List of Mims.
Yes.
So,
but
go ahead.
I just think the List of Jericho is wonderful, and he probably could get over all those things you were just talking about.
Oh, probably. He probably could. Would it surprise you if he just like came out and he just like had the beer can of Jericho?
That would sell. I mean,
that would sell.
The limited edition beer can.
He could probably get like a microbrewery in on that,
right?
Like Jerabeer or something like that. Drink it in, man.
See, this shit writes itself.
It writes itself. It really does. Like, honest to God, and you can agree to disagree with me if you want, but I think Chris Jericho now, at 47 years old, I like this Chris Jericho a lot better than I liked Lionheart Chris Jericho.
I could see why you would say that.
I mean, he's just showing himself to be one of the savviest minds in the wrestling business.
He is.
He's our generation's Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan, just finding a way to just extend his career.
And stay relevant.
And not hold down the other talent.
Exactly.
Or elbow drop, like, Coates and Invisible People and stuff. But, I mean, it was a well-done match, but that ending, though... Seth Rollins over Y2J Chris Jericho, and that brought us to another filler match. And Okay, so I'm just going to get this out of the way here. 205 Live is not working. I like the cruiserweights, but the cruiserweights, and think I said this on the last podcast, I'm going to say it again. The cruiserweights need to be back at Full Sail University, not after freaking SmackDown when the crowd is freaking exhausted, and they need to be doing their own thing. They don't need to be a part of a brand, the cruiserweights. The cruiserweight division needs to be its own show. It really does. Nevertheless, the next match was, for reasons that are beyond me, Rich Swann versus TJ Perkins versus the Brian Kendricks, still suffering from time sickness. It happened, That's the thing.
Hey, at least we got the greatest man that ever lived on commentary. No.
Aries is a little clunky. He needs to stop the commentary stuff, and he just needs to get into the freaking division, because we need names in the division.
Yeah.
And, basically the story of this match was Brian had lost it to Rich. Brian owed TJ a rematch. Rich had used TJ for some opportunistic stuff in a match where he was giving Brian his rematch, and TJ, who is apparently the dumbest man alive, keeps getting taken advantage of and ended up jobbing. So, this was kind of like that crappy match. But that ending, though, because Gravity, and I should have seen it coming. I should have, because I saw what was going on. I saw what happened. I saw Gravity literally get up from its seat and run out the back door, because Neville was there. Neville just showed up out of nowhere, and Neville wasn't fucking around. Neville wants his money, Gravity. Neville wants his money right now, and he's not playing nice anymore, because he came out there and he just wasted everyone. Like, he's clapping because they're like, oh, they're such good friends, because Neville took Rich Swann under his wing, and, he's celebrating with his friend, and Neville just leveled him. And poor Rich Swann is just like crying, why? And Neville's just beating the crap out of everyone. Neville don't care. Neville wants his money, Gravity, and he's coming after you next.
He's sending you a message, Gravity. You better be listening.
Exactly. And like the crowd was basically clapping, thank you, Neville. He basically, like, the crowd was dead, and now Neville is in the division like he always should have been, like Kalisto should be, like, yeah. Besides Neville and the Brian Kendrick, like, the best thing about that division is Jack Gallagher.
Absolutely.
The guy is just extraordinary. He's the extraordinary gentleman. But, Rich Swann retained, but he sure didn't look like a winner. Which then leads us to the most problematic match of the night. Yes, friends, it is now time for us to talk about Charlotte versus Sasha, chapter 248.
48. Yes.
The Iron Women match. There was a stipulation in here that there would be no rematch. This was the end. Kind of like The Miz and Dolph Ziggler. The match was great. The match was phenomenal. It was a very well worked match. It is my second running to the whole thing, to the whole pay-per-view. It's my second favorite match. But that ending, though, God. I know some people have argued that the going back and forth of the women's title is not, depreciating it. Well, yes, it is. Here's the thing. Neither of these two have managed to hold on to this thing for more than a month at a time. So the women's championship, just for so you know, came into existence at WrestleMania in April. So it is now December. Basically, if my math is right, 8 months. Is that right? 8 months between then and now?
About that, yeah.
In 8 months, this title has changed hands 7 times, all to the same 2 people. Think about that. That's almost a title change a month.
And it was like that. It was just absolutely... They were just giving it back and forth, and I never got this whole... Why are we keeping Charlotte's streak on pay-per-views alive? And why did Sasha have to win it only on Raw?
I never got that either. Why not give Sasha... And here's the problem. This feud, if they had played it right, could have carried them straight through to WrestleMania, because the money match of last year was, for them, was the three NXT women fighting it out.
Triple threat.
This year it would have been Sasha and Charlotte, and Sasha getting the title would have been, basically, that would have been the WrestleMania moment right there. But you've ruined it. You've ruined it because, even New Day took a shot at her. Like on the Raw after it, when they were talking about how, there's record ended, but if they want to be, even like a 15-time champion like Ric Flair, or a 16-time champion like Ric Flair had to lose the title 15 times to get there. And then Big E's like sitting there, Charlotte will be there by next week.
Oh,
did you miss that one?
Yes, I did. I did miss that.
They might have edited out the Hulu thing for time constraints. But, I mean, it is. That's the joke. Jesus Christ. If you're going to pad out someone's resume, at least do it a little better. Rotate, and now we're going to get, Charlotte and Bayley, which, hooray, I guess. I don't like where they're going with it so far. With, like Charlotte's pulling out the old loophole Jericho heel stuff in order to try and keep Bayley away from the title. And apparently Nia Jax is going to be fighting Sasha, and I don't quite understand why Nia just doesn't go straight for Charlotte, because she's the division killer. She's China.
Yeah, she is.
Again, the match was very well. No, talking back about the match was very well worked. It went about the way I thought it would, and it was, Charlotte got one up, then Sasha got one, and then Sasha got a second one, and then Charlotte tied it up, and then Sasha got a third one. Charlotte managed to tie it up with 3 seconds left to go. They went into overtime, and Charlotte managed to pull it out. Charlotte is your 4-time
Jeez.
4 or 5.
Still, it's a lot, yeah.
4 or 5-time women's champion over Sasha Banks in the feud that should have probably gone till WrestleMania. Sasha Banks is another one. I just don't understand how they've mishandled her over the last. She should be bigger than she is. She deserves to have a reign longer than 3 weeks.
I agree.
But,
totally agree.
So, anyway, but that brings us to the main event, which was the Universal Champion Kevin Owens versus the United States Champion Roman Reigns. What fucking good is that U.S. Championship title?
I don't know. I mean, what?
It's a prop to make Roman look strong.
I mean, if you're gonna put him in the main event picture, why not him? Why not? If you don't want him, if you want him to stay strong and stay looking strong, just have him just drop it and say,
drop
look,
it, Seth. Drop it to one of the hundreds of other people on the undercard of Raw that could use it. Why couldn't they have given this to Cesaro and Sheamus?
I don't know.
And then we could have the club tag team champions, as they well should be. I don't get this. The United States champion is fucking pointless right now, and they need to get this goddamn championship off of him before the Royal Rumble in 5 weeks. Because it's probably not going to be defended at the Royal Rumble anyway, but it needs to go somewhere else. It needs to serve some other purpose. It does not help Roman. It hurts him because it's like, well, why don't you put your championship up against Kevin Owens?
Right.
And Kevin is, again, the whole story is that he was distraught about the whole Chris Jericho thing. And, like, they had this whole thing where he was talking to Chris Jericho's door because Chris Jericho wouldn't open it. And he was, like, really sad. Sad Kevin is sad. Aww. And, I mean, it was a very well-worked match. Kevin Owens is one of the best workers on the roster. Roman Reigns is there. And normally, if you, like, take him by the ear and you lead him through the match, like a paint-by-numbers kind of deal, you put the red on the ones, you put the blues on the twos, you put the threes. And, I mean, that pretty much, he can get him through the match, and he can have some decent matches as long as the dance partner he has can make up for the weak for his weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And can not slip in the puddle of Pantene Pro V that just oozes out of his hair. Hair so fine it never jobs. However, that ending though, do you want to? I can't even.
You can't even what? What's the matter?
The whole thing where Jericho comes out, gives the code breaker to Owens,
and like DQs him.
And then
it's horrible.
And then it's like, ha 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 ha, this was my plan all along. And then Seth comes out, and there's Shield power bombs for everyone, and
this is the thing that they have teased the breakup of Jericho twice now.
They're going to have to do it soon.
Like, how many times are they going to try to do it again, and we're going to fall for it? Or
I didn't fall for it.
Even like the other wrestlers going to fall for it.
Well, because if you're a face, you automatically deduct like 75 intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
That it's the old thing where we talk about each wrestler has like a character sheet, and they have their moves list, and they buy everything, and they have what they're strong at and their stuff. And apparently, like Roman has like been buying the GM like cheeseburgers and stuff like that, and to get a little bit extra experience on the side.
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, but you offer him your cloister bucks.
The problem is that when you're a face, you get like a -3 to your intelligence rolls, and you fall for the stupid stuff again. It's like Roman is the stupid. Who was the one that we were talking about on SmackDown was the stupidest? Dolph Ziggler is the stupidest freaking person on the roster, and that's not even his gimmick. Like, Heath Slater, you expect something like that from, because his gimmick is so hokey and stuff. But again, and that's how we ended, with a bullshit finish, and hooray the Shield, I guess. Letter grade?
God, I mean, I have to go with a C.
C-. You're lucky you didn't get a D for this. Because it was just, again, after every single match. But that ending, though, and only, let's see, it was only good twice. The tag match at the beginning, and the heel turn by Neville at the Cruiserweight. And that was the only, but that ending, though, that was positive. All the rest of them were negative.
Mm-hmm.
C-. And based on that, this is the heads up. And I am probably going to get called out on this in the next podcast when Kane gets back. But SmackDown somehow maintains its streak. 3 straight heads up in a row. SmackDown won this heads up because despite everything and despite all the flaws with TLC,
of the show,
it was a better show. And you can claim shenanigans on it, but not nearly as bad shenanigans as this show was. And this show doesn't have any excuses. It had 2 extra weeks to build all of this up. What do you think?
Oh, I totally agree that they, I just feel like they kind of painted themselves into a corner and they didn't know what to do with it. As a whole, they didn't know what to do with the pay-per-view.
No, and it also kind of feels like they were just setting up for the match that we're getting at the Royal Rumble.
Exactly.
Which leads us into Raw now. So, basically, we're at the end of the year, and Raw is heading into the Royal Rumble with their headlining act, Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns, with Chris Jericho in a shark cage, suspended above the ring. Braun Strowman basically has been the last 2 weeks of programming because he's been pissed at Sammy, and he came out and he killed Christmas on the Christmas episode, and then he killed Roman and Seth. And the next week he came out and he demanded, or Roman and Seth demanded that they both get them. Stephanie said, "All right, Seth, you can have him. Roman, you got to defend that U.S. title because reasons." And Braun, once again, is going to get his match next week on Raw against Sami Zayn, but went out, destroyed Christmas again because they still had the Christmas decorations up. Like any good family, nobody decided to take them down straight up. And went down, killed Bo Dallas, Darren Young, and the Shining Stars, and Bob Backlund, before mostly killing Seth Rollins before Sami Zayn came up and bashed his head like 5 or 6 times into a ring post and ran off. Raw has been meh for me. What do you think?
Honestly,
I mean, other than the fact that when you go to watch it, you ask me what matches are worth watching.
well, yeah, but it's just your whole reaction to this past week's Raw when I had my options open to what to do at my Tuesday night, and you said meh, and I'm like, all right, this is all I need to know to put in some hours of Final Fantasy 15.
Yep. I mean, I don't get it, man. They've got so much great talent on there. And, I mean, Jesus Christ, they've hijacked an hour of SmackDown for their Cruiserweight division. They've been afforded... It's been no secret, especially if you're a fan of Paul Heyman and you've watched his special, that Raw is Vince McMahon's baby.
Right.
And is afforded every single luxury, is afforded every single opportunity, and just seems to squander it. I don't get it. I mean, they've started to get on board with Braun. It looks like they might be getting on board with Nia Jax, who's is the one good thing. I didn't like her presentation in NXT. I love her presentation on Raw. And then the rest of it is like, okay. Yeah, the only other thing they've got going for them is Brock Lesnar and Goldberg. And that's a part-time sideshow that we're going to have to really, even though they're going to be both in the Royal Rumble, we really got to wait till WrestleMania to get that paid off.
Right.
Which means we're waiting 3 more pay-per-views, because they're going to have at least 2 in between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Are
we going to be getting 6 more because of both of them?
No, what's going to end up happening, because Royal Rumble is one. It is a joint show. They were going to try and do 19 pay-per-views a year. Just let that process for a second. That's not even including the NXT takeovers.
Mm-hmm.
And then apparently somebody tipped them off, like, hey, this isn't getting us more buys. In fact, we're losing buys. And so now they've dialed it back. I think the number they've kind of settled on at the moment is, I think they're at 17, maybe going down to 15. Because it's too much. If they did this before. They did this back in the day when they did the brand split and they tried to go to 18 pay-per-views a year. And it got shitty. And, it's like now. We used to do the podcast after every pay-per-view. But there's no possible way I am going to do like a whole podcast on freaking TLC or on freaking Roadblock. There's just not enough material there. It's not as well thought out, and it doesn't deserve its own podcast. To be quite honest, it doesn't deserve its own thing. And I don't get it, and Raw is just not coming through for me. I feel like they could, with the talent they have, with the extra 2 hours that they have, they could be doing more. Because they don't need to put the cruiserweights on Raw. The cruiserweights can be their own thing, and they can use that to get over other people who are on the actual roster.
Right.
Raw, in the coming year, need to step it up. But then that brings us over to SmackDown Live. And I'll be damned if they did not just have the best show of the year. Out of all of the TV tapings, Raw or SmackDown, SmackDown Live just hit it out of the park. Last show of the year. I damn well say that this SmackDown Live that just aired on Tuesday night might have been better than some of their pay-per-views since the brand split. It was great. It was the Four-Ways Corners match with the Wyatts defending against Heath Slater and Rhino, the Usos, and American Alpha. American Alpha get their due finally, like they should have been from the first. They should have been.
Right. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely that you... Look, I'm surprised. I thought they were going to run with this Wyatt family tag team for longer than they did, and of course they're not out of the picture or anything, but
actually you should be thankful it was the Wyatt family, because I had slated Alexa Bliss to be the first heel that dropped the title.
No, I remember you telling me that, and I remember you teasing that the other night.
I know, I'm an asshole. That Alexa retained due to shenanigans. The whole Miz, Dean Ambrose, Renee Young thing, which is really compelling.
It's a little weird, but
it works because it's once again it's the Miz being the Miz, and the Miz is an ass.
And I really like what Dean's been doing with, just kind of going back to what he did with Shane when he kept showing up as, oh, I'm dressed up like this, and Shane's like, leave, and then he comes back, I'm dressed up like this, and Shane leaves.
I'm the Mountie.
Right.
And I always get my man.
I loved seeing Dean pop up as the security guard behind Miz.
Yeah, that was nice. It was also nice to see Renee's reaction, just that smug little, you about to get hurt, son.
Right.
And, AJ Styles defending against Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin. And if you thought Dolph Ziggler or Baron Corbin were going to win.
I have to give props to one move in this match.
Okay.
I really enjoyed when Corbin had AJ in the end of days, and Dolph jumps up on Corbin, or Corby as we call him in my household,
boring,
and hits the zigzag as the same time as AJ's getting the end of days.
Yeah, the Zig of Days, I think, is what we're going to call it.
Oh, okay.
The Zag of Days? The end of Zag? Zig of Days? And let us know in the comments, which one you prefer. The Zig of Days or the end of Zag? Something like that. The end of Zigzag. Zigzag of Days. Whatever. It was a good match, but we all know what it was setting up for. We all know who came back. We all know who showed up. Yes, sir. It's the face that runs the place. It's the champ that runs the camp. It's the Massachusetts who's never losing. It's John Cena. And AJ, you have dodged him. You have run. You've pinned him. But there is one unalienable fact in the WWE. You can't beat Superman. Not forever.
No. He's getting
16. He's tying Ric Flair. Probably at WrestleMania, but he's going to do it.
This is going back to what we were talking about earlier with the WWE being pissed off about people that are suing them or having action against them, is that I think this WrestleMania, John's getting it. I think he's getting it this WrestleMania, and they're going to make this big deal out of it. And so I don't see him winning at Royal Rumble. I think they've
been building it up for a good year and a half about his 16th title win.
Right.
And that ties Ric Flair, and 17 surpasses it. And I'll tell you quite honestly, Ric Flair has gone on record, on very public record, saying that I want John Cena to be the guy. I mean, if you technically think about it, that's really big of Rick, considering that John Cena cost Ric Flair one of his marriages.
Right.
So, we've told that story on the podcast before. But yeah, I think it's coming soon. The logical way is it's going to come at WrestleMania, because that's big. That's when Big Match John is at his best. And I'm just
saying that you can't have AJ try to beat CM Punk's record if you're going to give it to Cena.
It really depends on them, because to beat CM Punk's record is as much of a time devotion as the New Day. It's pretty close. CM Punk is a little bit longer than that, because you basically have to invest 18 to 20 months in one person being your champion. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that.
Right.
But, I mean, we'll see. Basically, if I were to, gun to my head, if I were to say which was the better brand at the end of the year, SmackDown Live has done more with less. And
they have.
And they've done significant more with less. Could it be because they have some of NXT's writers? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
We'll
And haven't they won the ratings, technically?
A couple of times, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have. But at any rate, that brings us to one last little piece of news that we want to comment here on. This was actually brought in by one of our listeners, a friend of ours, one of your friends, one of my friends from the old City of Hero days, Miss Talia Raven, sent me an article today about, or it was actually a couple of days ago as of the recording, but sent me an article where last week, during Christmas week, they were running, WWE.com was running a poll as to who you want to see in WrestleMania in main event. And they had a few people in there: AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Roman Reigns. Now, Roman has been the guy in the company, and they've pretty much tried to push him down our throats for 3 years now we're going at? 3 years, yeah, that sounds about right. And apparently Roman was doing very poorly in the polls. So poorly that I think he was getting about 3%. Dead last.
3%.
Whew. And they promptly pulled that poll down real fast. They pulled that poll down so fast. So, do you think this means that we're going to see Roman Reigns in the freaking Royal Rumble, and he's going to win it 3rd year in a row, and they're going to try and force him into the main event of WrestleMania for a 3rd year running?
When this first popped up a week or two ago, and you said this, you told me this, and I said, well, he's in a match already.
Doesn't matter anything.
He's got a match, and so do you think they will put him in the Royal Rumble and basically have him pull double duty in the night?
They've done it with other wrestlers.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you put the WWE Universe through this again?
Why wouldn't you? They clearly don't care. This is the same company that had to mute the crowd at WrestleMania, their biggest show of the year, in the main event, They had to mute the freaking crowd that was booing Roman out of the freaking Houston Dome. He was getting booed out of Jerry World. Yeah, Jerry World. It was the Levi Stadium before. He was getting booed out of Jerry World. And Kevin Dunn had to hit that mute button and had to do those nice tight shots so that you couldn't see all the crowd.
They were only showing you
we both knew somebody who went to WrestleMania who told us that what you saw on TV was not at all what happened.
Yep.
But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, you don't want to believe they will, but they have not shown me any evidence to the otherwise that they're going to try and go with anyone else. They may not have him do the Royal Rumble, win the Royal Rumble, but I guarantee you, they're going to try and find a way to crowbar his ass up into that match. I'll almost guarantee you. And actually, this is what we need to watch when going into WrestleMania season. Which match is the headliner for WrestleMania? Because you're going to have both title matches.
Right.
And this is something I'm going to cover on the blog that I'm starting up. But whichever match is last, whichever champion is in that match last, that is clearly the belt that they value more. Now, you and I both know what belt that should be. But we also are smart enough and have been watching wrestling long enough to know what belt it probably will be. They're probably going to put the Universal Champion in the main event slot. And it's probably going to be Kevin Owens and Roman again, and Roman's going to finally go over at WrestleMania for a second year in a row to a massive chorus of boos. I always get so depressed at the end of these podcasts when it comes to.
It's reasons. Just because we.
You see why I drink through these things all the time?
Oh yeah, totally. Because you were just evaluating everything that's happening, and we don't see good things ahead.
I don't. I see good things, but none of them are in the main event picture.
Right.
So, but at any rate. That brings us through to the end of the podcast. We would like to go ahead and take the opportunity to thank bensound.com for our opening theme, Actionable. We'd like to also thank Meatchet for our closing theme. It will be Picnic in the Reactor. We'd like to also thank Joe Mashup for the mashup that we had today, Jericho. And next time you're going to talk to us, it's going to be the Royal Rumble. Kane should be back. Once again, thank you, Best. Thanks for coming and filling in for us.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Happy to have you.
I was happy to come on.
No. And for Kane Super Wet Snuka, Best and Tight Feather, I'm your boy, Kami the Faded Saint, saying we'll see you on the next podcast.